Me and the Honorable Nelson Koech are being blamed constantly, yet we have no responsibility over the contractor who was given that assignment, Madam Speaker. I ask, Madam Speaker, that during the Kamkunji, which was called by the substantive speaker yesterday, we need something substantive from the CS in charge of transport, Madam Speaker. At the moment, there are heavy rains in the whole country, and the road network is presently dilapidated. Unless something is done, Madam Speaker, the situation is such that people will continue planting bananas on the roads and blaming us for work that is not ours, Madam Speaker. Thank you, and I support the petition.
Thank you. Member for Mandera West, Honorable Haji.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I also stand to support Honorable Talib on this. This is very critical. Mombasa and Jomvu as such is the gateway to Kenya. It's the face of Kenya. All international entries through the sea comes through there. And when such a road is not done, actually is neglected, then even somebody who has not come into the rest of Kenya and who will just go back from Mombasa will see Kenya as what he saw in Jomvu. And this is unacceptable. And it's not only Mombasa, actually roads all over the country, all over, wherever you go, is pathetic. It's very pathetic. Recently, major roads like the Garissa, Nairobi Road, like Mombasa, Malindi, Tana River, or Hola Road, all these roads are being swept. There is, even the roads that has been completed, the jobs are very shoddy, and roads that are done today, this year, the following year is washed away. This is unacceptable. Roads are supposed to have guarantees of many years, at least 10 years or so. So the corruption level in this ministry is just terrible. Recently, we saw that the road resource was distributed to Kenya, all the counties, but 50% of the counties go to zero, while some counties got almost all the funds that are available. This is unacceptable, and I support Mr. Badi's petition, and action should be taken. It should be implemented to the latter. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Member for Kilifi North.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to thank my brother, Badi, also known as Kijana Mwepesi Di Bior Major, the Member of Parliament for Jomvu, for the work he's doing, because that road is very key to the people of Kilifi. Today, when the main road, when Bogolo Bridge collapsed, traffic towards the north coast stopped because Bogolo Bridge. That road from Jomvu to Rabai, joining Kaloleni, coming to Mavueni, going to Malindi, is a very key road for the region. It links Kilifi and Mombasa. And Mombasa, if we will not have another outlet from Mombasa, we will only continue to use Nyali Bridge. One day when we have a situation at Nyali Bridge and that bridge cannot allow vehicle to pass, Mombasa will be landlocked. The only way out is to have that road. That road is key. I know I have spoken to the contractor and there are issues. The ministry is not paying. The contractor has been there, and actually the road was relaunched, but then the graders and everything else were removed. So I think we need to stop PR. We need to ensure that that road is done, and it is done properly for the benefit of the people of Kilifi, the people of Mombasa, and the people of Kenya. That road, I want to stand with you, my brother, Di Mabior, because you care for your people of Mombasa and you care for the people of Kilifi. And I want this government to also show that care. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Member for Kericho, Honorable Beatrice Keme.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to thank the petitioner for what is brought forth, and for real, we have issues with the roads. and the CS was here yesterday. Many of us didn't get the opportunity to air our issues, but today I want to join my colleagues who have spoken about these roads. I come from Kericho County, and Honorable Speaker, many times when we look in the social media, people ask what members of parliament are doing to make sure that the roads are done. And especially during this rainy season, roads are very bad. And as Mheshimiwa Justice Keme has put it correctly, the road from Kapsoi to Sondu, for the last, I think over 10 years, it has been a problem. And as much as he's saying is him and Mheshimiwa Nelson are being asked, people in the crowd do not know who is who. I'm also being asked every day, whenever we go for functions, I'm asked about that road among many other roads across the county. So it is very important, Honorable Speaker, that the government and especially the ministry fast track issues to do with these roads. Children going to schools are affected. Mothers in labor and even the elderly are affected. In these roads, Honorable Speaker, one thing that is clear, the people have even thought of going by border than the vehicles. So I would really ask that we fast track on the same. There's also this road, Honorable Speaker, in Syokimau, that is community road, which has stalled for 5 years. I stayed there, and members of the public come to me, my neighbors come to me, knowing that I'm a member of parliament. What have I done about it? So I really ask that the roads that have stolen, the contractors that have been given the responsibility and the work to do, let them do it and do it very well. I support the petition. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Njedi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I also arise to support this petition. And Madam Speaker, where I sit, sometimes I wonder whether what's happening is maybe to paint the government negative by specific officers. Because I recall also in my constituency, there was a road that money had been allocated. But when I kept on following about it, I was told the contractor is the one who is not working. But further inquiry on this, I found that it was Kera Road. I found that Kera had not paid this particular person because of some taxes payment. But you see, what was on the ground was that the president had been around, launched the road, and the road is not ongoing. So the whole blame comes to the government, comes, for example, to the president who launched, when actually the nitty-gritties on the ground is by the respective entities that don't perform their work as expected. Like, for example, asking this contractor to pay the money to the government taxes as required, so as to be paid the money to continue with construction of the road. Madam Speaker, what's also very interesting, in Kakamega County, there's a road that now does not require treasury money. This is a World Bank road. This road has kind of stalled, is not completed. I also raised even the same question to the minister about it. So no one is talking about that, and also it paints the government very negative, when indeed there is money for it, actually from the World Bank. So, Madam Speaker, I would support Mheshimiwa particularly for his complaint, because this is affecting most of us for the roads that have not been completed. And for those that have not been completed, Madam Speaker, you find that when they have stalled, the roads normally have huge potholes, so that some of them, they are now acting as rivers on our roads, to the point that borders all over the country, they are demonstrating with banana seedlings, banana stems, Madam Speaker, demonstrating against MPs and even the President and the government. Madam Speaker, I support. Thank you.
Majority Leader.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika. Nataka nijiunge na wabunge wengine kuchangia hili jambo la hii barabara ya Jitoni Rabai huko Jomvu Kuu Ward, Jomvu Sub-County ama constituency ya Jomvu. Na hii barabara, Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi naielewa sababu inashikanisha Jomvu na Kilifi. Na nilikuwa pamoja na aliyekuwa naibu wa rais ambaye ni rais wa sasa, Rais William Ruto akiwa naibu wa rais, alipoenda kuanzisha hii barabara mwaka wa 2018. Na ni jambo la kushangaza Mheshimiwa Spika ya kuwa barabara iliyoanzishwa mwezi wa 3 mwaka wa 2018 mpaka wa leo haijakamilika. Na ni vizuri watu wa Jomvu na watu wa Kilifi waelewe, sababu hii ni baadhi ya barabara nyingi nchini yetu ambazo zilisimamishwa maksudi. Zikasimamishwa sababu zilianzishwa na aliyekuwa naibu wa rais, ambaye sasa ni rais. Na serikali iliyokuwa ilizisimamisha ikifikiria inamuondolea umaarufu naibu wa rais sababu ya siasa duni. Na hizi siasa duni ndizo zimewaweka watu wa Jomvu, watu wa Kilifi na Wakenya wengine. Hata kwangu Kilifi, Mheshimiwa Spika, kwangu Kikuyu, sio Kilifi.
Nimedhani ulihama Mheshimiwa.
Nasikia Mheshimiwa Nelson Koech akisema labda niko na nyumba nyingine Kilifi. Sina nyumba Kilifi. Nilikuwa nasema hata kwangu Kikuyu barabara nyingi zilisimamishwa sababu zilikuwa zimeanzishwa na naibu wa rais wakati huo, na wale walikuwa na hatamu ya uongozi walikuwa wanataka atiwamzimie umaarufu aliyekuwa naibu wa rais kwa kusimamisha barabara na miradi ya maendeleo ambayo manufaa ni kwa Wakenya wa kawaida. Nataka niseme serikali ya leo sasa ambayo inaongozwa na Rais William Ruto imechukua hizi miradi zote ili hakikishe zinaendelea, na rais juzi ametembea kote duniani. Ametembea nchi ya Uchina kuhakikisha ya kuwa hata kandarasi nyingi ambazo ziko na makontrakta kutoka nchi ya Uchina tunapata fedha za kuweza kuendeleza hizo kandarasi. Kandarasi ambazo pia zinaendeshwa na Wakenya, contractors wa Kenya. Pia rais ametafuta pesa. Juzi alipokuwa nchi ya Ufaransa, ulisikia IMF na banki ya dunia, World Bank, wakitangaza ya kuwa tutapata msaada wa fedha za kimaendeleo dola bilioni 12 ambazo zitasaidia kuhakikisha ya kuwa watu wa Jomvu, watu wa Jitoni, Rabai kwenda Kilifi wamepata hii barabara kukamilishwa. Na nataka niwaulize wale ambao wako kwa wizara ya miundo msingi na barabara, na waziri alikuwa hapa jana, Mheshimiwa Spika, unakumbuka akituambia ya kuwa shida imekuwa kuanzisha barabara mpya, lakini barabara kama hii iliyositishwa maksudi sababu ya siasa duni ni lazima ikamilishwe. Na nimshukuru kiongozi anayejiita kiongozi mwepesi, kijana mwepesi, lakini anajiita mwepesi lakini mzito kwa maneno. Mzito kwa maneno ya kuwatetea watu wa Jomvu wapate maendeleo, na hiyo ndio sababu alichaguliwa na watu wa Jomvu. Na najua alipitia mangumu serikali iliyopita, sababu alikuwa anaonekana hata kwa chama alichosimama nacho ya kuwa yeye anaegemea sana kwa upande wa Rais William Ruto. Nataka nikuambie mtu wa Jomvu, endelea kusimama na kumuunga Rais William Ruto ambaye atakukamilishia hii miradi ya maendeleo Jomvu na Kenya nzima. Na nikupongeze kijana mwepesi, na uendelee kuwa mzito wa maneno, mzito wa maendeleo, mzito wa barabara kuhakikisha zimekamilishwa. Hiyo ndio kazi watu wa Jomvu waliokupea. Pongezi na kongole kwa hii kazi ya kuleta hii petition, sababu hiyo ndio kazi uliochaguliwa. Na usitishwe na mtu yeyote. Wale ambao jana nilisikia wakisema eti fedha, tutoe fedha za maendeleo. Wanasema tutoe fedha za maendeleo za barabara, kukamilisha barabara kama hii, zipelekwe kwa political parties fund. Na wanataka pesa zipelekwe kwa kusimamia vyama vya kisiasa, sababu huko ndio wanamopata kitu cha kula. Na hii uporaji, Mheshimiwa Spika, ya uporaji ya fedha za vyama vya kisiasa lazima ukome. Tunataka fedha zisiende kwa vyama vya siasa za kupiga siasa, ziende kwa miundo msingi na kwa miradi kama hii ambayo ilikomeshwa sababu ya siasa duni za hizo vyama. Asante Mheshimiwa Spika.
Asante. Kutufungia hapa ni Mheshimiwa Wandia ambaye pia ni mwenyekiti wa kamati inayoshughulika mambo ya barabara na usafirishaji.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika, pia mimi hata naunga mkono hii mswada ya Mheshimiwa Bandi ambaye ni member wa committee ya roads, na Mheshimiwa chupavu kabisa na anaelewa kazi yake vizuri kabisa. Honorable Badi, nataka kukuhakikishia wewe ukiwa member wa komiti ya barabara, tutaunga mkono hii petition yako, na tutahakikisha hizi kilomita 3 zimebaki tumesukuma wenye wana implement ni kura ndio wamalize hizo kilomita 3, kwa sababu kama wamefanya kilomita 12 9 out of 12, 3 tunaweza sukuma kupitia funds zenye ziko ndio wamalizie hii murandi. So Bwana Speaker, hii si jambo lenye constituency ya Mbadi peke yake. Iko kila constituency kwa hii nchi. Hata nikikuuliza Bwana Speaker, kama kuna barabara imekwama kwako, utaniambia kuna 1, 2 ama 3. Hata kwangu ukiniuliza, niko na barabara ilianzishwa, ilikuwa contracted before niingie bunge, na niko tamu ya pili na imekwama. Inatoka mahali inaitwa Baricho, inaenda Getuya, inaenda mahali inaitwa Kagumo, na imekwama. So hili ni janga tuna face sisi wote wa bunge, na tuko kwa hii hali kwa sababu ya upungufu wa budget wa pesa. Mara mingi tunapitisha budget hapa, lakini inabidi turudi tena kukata hiyo budget, kama tulivyofanya juzi kwa barabara, tukakata 30 billion, karibu 30 billion ndio tuweze kutengeneza budget. Kwa hivyo Bwana Speaker, naunga mkono kabisa. Na Bwana Speaker, if you allow me to switch,
Order.
Sawa, asante, wacha ning'ang'ane. So Bwana Speaker, jana tulikuwa na CS. Unajua wakati Badi yako kwa komiti huwa tunamwambia tuzungumzie Kiswahili kwa sababu ako na Kiswahili mzuri sana.
Chairman, order chairman.
So
sema CS kwa Kizungu. Kwa Kiswahili.
Waziri.
Kwa Kiswahili.
So waziri. So nasema Bwana Badi akiwa kwa komiti huwa tunamwambia tuzungumzie Swahili kwa sababu ako na Kiswahili mzuri sana. So jana waziri alikuwa hapa. Na alikuwa hapa kuzungumzia mambo ya budget. Na mimi nilijirefrain, niliacha kuongea mambo ya hiyo mswada kwa sababu nilikuwa naona haikuwa inafaa kumwalika waziri aongee juu ya budget, na budget ni kazi ya hii nyumba. Budget, kutengeneza budget ni function ama ni kazi ya National Assembly, lakini siyo ya executive. Tukiita waziri akuje hapa atuambie kwa nini budget inawekwa hapa na sio hapa, na ni kazi yetu, tuna handover, tunapeana kazi yetu yenye tunatakiwa kuwa tunafanya ya kutengeneza budget. Na nikaangalia mjumbe mwenye alialika ama aliuliza hiyo swali ni mjumbe wa kiwango ya juu, na ni mjumbe anaelewa mambo ya bunge. Haikuwa inafaa kuita waziri azungumzie kazi yetu. Pia haikuwa inafaa kukubalia waziri oversight hii nyumba, kwa kusema vile tumefanya na vile hatujafanya, na vile tunatakiwa kufanya vizuri na vile hatujafanya vizuri. Kazi ya oversight ni kazi ya National Assembly, si kazi ya executive. Kwa hivyo wakati tunawaalika mawaziri hapa, wacha tuwaalike waongee mambo ya implementation ya budget yenye tumepitisha, lakini sio mambo ya kutengeneza bajeti na hiyo bajeti ni yetu.
Kiongozi ya wale wengi, ni nini hoja yako ya nidhamu?
Hoja yangu ya nidhamu, mwenyekiti wa kamati ya miundo msingi na barabara, Mheshimiwa Spika, kama umemsikiza, anadai ya kuwa waziri hakuwa na haki ya kuja kusema yale aliyokuja kusema jana, ilhali anajua waziri hakujileta hapa. Waziri aliagizwa aje ajibu swali lililoulizwa na mbunge wa Kathiani, Mheshimiwa Robert Mbui, na ni kufuatilia utaratibu wa kanuni zetu za bunge ya kuwa mawaziri lazima wakiitwa bunge kujibu maswali ama kusema mambo ambayo yanahusiana na wizara zao waje wajibu. Na najua Mheshimiwa Spika, kuna maswala tata aliyogusia, lakini ni haki yake akijibu maswali. Kwa hivyo naona Mheshimiwa GK George Kariuki, mwenyekiti wetu wa kamati ya miundo msingi na barabara, amekosea kidogo kufuatia kanuni zetu ya kuwa waziri hafai kuja kujibu yale, sababu waziri ni sisi kama bunge tuliomuita, na waziri yeyote mwingine tusiweke ilani ya kuwa kuna mawaziri ambao wanafaa kuja, kuna wengine wanaokuja, ama tuwawekee vikwazo yale ambayo wanafaa kusema wakijibu maswali. Lazima waje hapa na wajibu maswali. Uongee Kiswahili, Kaluma.
Bwana Mheshimiwa Kaluma, mkuu ya wale wengi alikuwa amesimama kwa nidhamu. Huwezi kusema nidhamu kwa nidhamu. Kama amesimama kwa nidhamu utangoje. Endelea Mheshimiwa. What's your point of order now? What's your point of order? No, he's
Yes,
on a point of order.
I thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I'm standing to raise a concern about the manner in which, particularly the majority of leader is abusing the idea of points of orders.
The idea of?
Standing on a point of order. Yes. He stands on a point of order, but he goes arguing and debating instead of telling the House what is out of order under what legal provision or standing order provision, like what he has just done. He's debating, taking the time of other members, and it is not something he's doing for the first time.
I know, Honorable.
I wanted to request, Honorable Speaker, that the majority leader be guided, that he cannot be debating each and every time other members are debating in the pretext of points of order. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Proceed.
Asante, Bwana Speaker. Nafikiria majority leader badala ya kunikosoa mambo ya nidhamu ni inform, angenielezea vile alikuwa anaelezea, lakini sioni kama nilikuwa nasema kabine ya waziri asikuje kwa nyumba. Nilikuwa nasema hatungemualika aseme mambo ya budget, kutengeneza budget. Tungemualika aongee mambo ya kuimplement budget, lakini si kutengeneza budget. Nafikiria hapo ndio majority leader hakuelewa vizuri. So nilikuwa namalizia, lakini nilikuwa nataka kuongezea hata ile pesa bwana mheshimiwa wa Kathiani alikuwa anaongea juu yake hii ya RMLF. Juzi tulibadilisha sheria kama bunge na tukasema lazima agencies zote za barabara kuleta mipangilio ya ama program zao hapa kwa bunge. Tunakubaliana ya kwamba zimeangalia nchi yote na sio pande moja. So hiyo tumefanya ndio kwa sababu kutengeneza ama kugawa pesa za umma ni kazi ya bunge, sio kazi ya kufanyiwa kwa ofisi. Bwana Speaker, nataka kumuelezea Bwana Badi ya kwamba tutamuunga mkono tukielekea mambo ya kama ni fuel levy ama ni budget, main budget, tutamunga mkono ndio hiyo barabara ikamilike, kwa sababu ni barabara muhimu sana kwa watu wa Jomvu na watu wa Kilifi na watu wa Kenya. Asante sana Bwana Speaker. Thank you.
What are you on, Honorable MP for Kamukunji? Are you on a point of order? What's your point of order, MP for Kamukunji? Please give him the mic.
Asante sana Bwana Spika. Nashukuru na nimesimama kumunga mkono ndugu yangu Badi Twali, mbunge wa Jomvu.
Nidhamu. Mheshimiwa, hiyo tumepita. Hoja hiyo imekamilishwa. Mwenyekiti akizungumza hiyo ndio mwisho. Kwa hivyo tuko kwa order number 5. Tuko kwa order
Order number 5, papers.
Papers. Kiongozi ya wale wengi, endelea.
Asante sana Bwana Spika. Bwana Spika, nafurahi na kwa heshima ningependa kuwekelea makaratasi haya kuwasilisha makaratasi haya kwa meza ya bunge leo Alhamisi tarehe 7 mwezi wa 12 mwaka huu wa 23, wakati huu wa kikao cha asubuhi. Now I have to move to English. Now, Honorable Speaker.
Order. The rules are very clear. You start your presentations in English, in Swahili, you'll have to do it in Swahili. If you do it if you do it in English, you start, you end in English.
Asante. Sasa ninawasilisha ripoti ya mhasibu mkuu na hesabu za kampuni yafuatayo ya kiserikali. Mwanzo,
shirika, si kampuni.
Shirika.
Endelea.
Mwanambeyu Girls Secondary School. Mombasa Secondary School for the Physically Handicapped.
Shule ya upili ya Mombasa.
Okay, haya. Shule ya upili ya Mwanambeyu ya wasichana. Shule ya upili ya wanafunzi walemavu. Shule ya upili ya Barani. Shule ya upili ya Dori ya wasichana. Shule ya upili ya Elijah Mzae. Shule ya upili ya wasichana wa Kakoneni. Shule ya upili ya wasichana ya Mtongwe. Shule ya upili ya Mwakitawa. Shule ya upili ya Chavia. Shule ya upili ya Jilore. Shule ya upili ya Kipsangui ya wavulana. Shule ya Mseto ya Masosa. Shule ya upili ya PCA Karai. Shule ya upili ya Ngethu. Shule ya upili ya Jack Mwashimba. Shule ya upili ya Funju. Na ripoti ya mhasibu mkuu wa serikali kuhusu ripoti maalum ya uhasibu ya bajeti ya supplementary nyongeza ya ziada kuhusu pesa zilizotolewa kupitia kupitia kifungu cha 223 ya katiba ya Kenya kulingana na mwaka wa kifedha wa 2012 na 2013 mpaka 2022 mpaka 2023. Ya 14, ripoti ya mwaka ya serikali ya bajeti ya utekelezaji wa bajeti na ripoti ya mwaka wa 22-23 kutoka kwa afisi ya mkaguzi wa bajeti. Controller.
Endelea.
Bwana Spika, ningekuomba, unajua hii ripoti ni ndefu na imeandikwa kwa lugha ya Kiingereza. Kufikia pale 19 kwa ruhusa yako maalum ni kuombe kwamba niendelee.
Endelea, nimekupa ruhusa.
Ili tufanye haraka. Asante sana na shukuru. 19, Annual Report of Financial Statements of Laikipia University for the financial statement for the year ended 30th June from the Office of the Vice Chancellor. Report of the Pest Control Products Board for the financial year ended 30th June 2022 from the Chief Executive Officer, Pest Control Products Board. Reports of the Auditor General and financial statements for the year ended 30th June 2023 and the certificates therein in respect of 1. 220 kVA and 132 kVA transmission lines and substation, Exim Bank of India funded project, Kenya Electricity Transmission Company Limited. Kenya Citizens and Foreign Nationals Management Services, Mwea Irrigation Development Project Loan Agreement number KEP 27, National Irrigation Authority, National Action Plan on Artisanal Small Scale Gold Mining Project number AFR, NAP, ASGM Project C 10 2016, Minister of Environment and Forestry. Nairobi Inclusive Sanitation Improvement Project, grant number 5600-155-05153, Athi Waterworks Development Agency. Support to water and sanitation services in peri-urban area, loan number BMZ 2013-6543.6, Athi Waterworks Development Agency. Nairobi Water Distribution Network Project, credit BMZ number 2020.82.527 KV 26833, Athi Water Works Development Agency. Safe Roads Usalama Barabarani Program, EU grant number KE FED 037778, National Transport and Safety Authority. Nairobi Water and Sanitation Project, credit number CKE 11351H, Athi Water Works Development Agency. Eastern Africa Regional Transport Trade and Development Facilitation Project, IDA credit number 5638, Information and Communication Technology Authority. Mombasa Port Area Road Development Project, loan number KEP29 and KEP32, Kenya National Highways Authority. Nairobi Western Bypass Project, Kenya National Highways Authority. Strengthening drought resilience for smallholder farmers and pastoralists in the IGAD region project number 03, DRESS EA 070 OSSKE 20, Minister of Environment, Climate Change and Forestry. Africa Center of Excellence in Sustainable Use of Insects as Food and Feeds Project, IDA credit number 5798, KE Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Science and Technology. Lake Victoria Water Supply and Sanitation Program Phase 2, project number PZ1EAO -004, ADF grant number 210015501997, Lake Victoria Southwest Water Works Development Authority. Water Sector Development Program, Lake Victoria South Kericho, Kisii, Nyamira, and Litien, loan number BMZ 2010-65-861, and grant number BMZ 2010-70-457, Lake Victoria South Water Works Development Agency. Kisii Water Supply, Kisii Water Supply and Sanitation Project, ORI 011, KE 21, Lake Victoria South Water Works Development Agency. Rural Electrification in 5 Region Project, CR credit number 11597 KE, number 1407 PKE, Rural Electrification and Renewable Energy Corporation. Kenya Cereal Enhancement Program, Climate Resilient Agricultural Livelihoods Window, KCEP, CRAL, EU grant number 200000623, grant number 200001522, grant number 200003993, grant number 20000011122, and IFAD loan number 200000121, State Department of Credit Development. East Africa Skills for Transformation and Regional Integration Project, East Strip, IDL, loan credit number 6334-KE- Minister of Education, State Department for Technical, Vocational Education and Training. Increased enjoyment of human rights and fundamental freedoms by all in Kenya project number KEN 2062, KEN 190011, KNCHR, Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. Supporting agricultural input and output marketing policy regulatory framework to improve the enabling business environment for agriculture in Kenya, AGRA grant number 2018 KE005, State Department for Crop Development, multinational Lake Victoria Maritime Communications and Transport, MLVMCT project, Kenya Maritime Authority, Agricultural Sector Development Support Program 2, CEDA grant number 511101019, State Department for Crop Development, Financial Sector Support Project, IDA credit number 56270, KE, the National Treasury, Africa Center of Excellence in Sustainable Use of Insects as Food and Feeds Project, IDA credit number 5798, KE, Jaramogi Oginga University of Science and Technology, Lake Victoria Water Supply and Sanitation Program Phase 2, project number PZ1 EAO004, ADF grant number 210015501997, Lake Victoria Southwest Works. And finally, Honorable Speaker, Menengai Geothermal Project Agreement number CKE 1038.01K, Geothermal Development Company Limited. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay. Thank you very much.
Next, before I move to the next order, I want to recognize the presence in the public gallery of students from, or pupils from Soin Primary School in Moiben. The boys and girls who are here are coming to see how the legislative leadership of this country is transacting business. For sure, they're going to be the leaders of tomorrow, and it's a good thing that they're here. I'm going to give this opportunity to the Member of Parliament for Moiben to say a few words of encouragement to the young boys and girls who are in the public gallery. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to welcome students from my constituency, Soin Primary. Mr. Speaker, these are the students who just finished the KCPE examinations, and they passed exemplary well, and I thought it was important to give them an opportunity to come to Parliament to see where laws are made, and it will help them improve their decisions on what careers they want to take in future. Welcome, karibuni sana. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, questions and statements.
Yeah, let me have. I have two statements here for today. Huh? Yeah, two responses, indeed, yes. What's your point of order?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise under standing order number 35 to inform you that the House does not have a quorum.
The House does not have a quorum. Yeah. Indeed, you are right.
Thank you.
The House does not have a quorum, and we cannot transact business without quorum. Can you ring the Sergeant at Arms, please ring the quorum bell. Order, Honorable Atandi, under the rules, if there's no quorum, only the whips are allowed to go out. No member of parliament is allowed to go out. To leave the chamber. You can't leave the chamber. You have to stay within the chamber.
Well, the House again has lacked the requisite quorum. The quorum bell is now underway. Remember, the House had attained its requisite quorum of at least 50 members inside the chambers at the commencement of the House business. And the Deputy Leader of the Majority Party, Honorable Owen Abaya, took the floor and read out the procedural motion on the two bills whose whose publication period has been resolved to be reduced from 14 to 3 days and 14 days to 1 day. These two bills include the Affordable Housing Bill and the Land Laws Amendment Bill. And these two bills, the House resolved to have its publication period or their publication period reduced to the number of days as requested by the leadership of the House. At the conclusion of that particular procedural motion, members embarked on the petition section, and the petition by the Honorable Member for Jomvu, Honorable Badi Twalib, was presented on the floor of the House. This is on behalf of the residents of Jomvu constituencies, and this was with regards to the delay in the completion of Jitoni Rabai Road in Jomvu Ku Ward, Jomvu Sub-County. This is in Mombasa County. And in this particular petition, members had the opportunity or were given time, each taking at least 2 minutes to participate on this particular petition with regards to the construction or completion of that particular road. And it was a petition that saw the contribution of many members taking part in this particular motion. Of course, it is an issue that has been seen to be affecting most areas. We saw the chairperson of transport indicating that it is an issue, or rather transport committee indicating that it is an issue that is being faced by many residents in different areas, and thereby the public petitions committee should be taking keen interest on this particular petition and ensure that whatever will be deliberated with regards to this particular issue covers the main issues that affect most parts or different parts of the country that have issues with roads or incomplete roads and other infrastructure that fall within that particular department or ministry. And this was the petition that was tabled by, or rather presented by, the Jomvu Member of Parliament, Honorable Badi Twalib. If you are just joining us, is that the quorum bell is underway. In the middle of the House business, the House lacked the requisite quorum. And pursuant to House Standing Order number 34, if the House does not have enough quorum, then the quorum bell can be rung for 10 minutes. Of course, this is to alert the members who may have walked out of the chamber and are within the precincts of Parliament to be able to make their way back to the chamber to enable the House achieve the required number of members inside the chamber for the business to continue. And what we'll be seeing is that members, we will be working in. Of course, the leadership will also be working on whipping the members who are not in the chambers to be able to make their way inside. As you can see, those are members, of course, getting into the chambers. And in a few minutes, we believe that the number will be achieved. The Sergeant at Arms, of course, will alert the Speaker or the Chair that the quorum has been achieved and that the House can be called back to order. and the business of the House will be continuing. The members of the National Assembly this morning are expected to resume on the debate on the statute law, miscellaneous amendments, number 2, a bill originating from the National Assembly. It is a bill that is at its second reading stage, a bill by the Leader of the Majority Party, Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah, and debate on this particular bill already kicked off extensively on the floor of the House, and this will be a resumption of that debate that was interrupted on the 6th of December during the afternoon sitting when the members were debating this particular bill. This is a bill that seeks to make various amendments to various statutes or legislation. It is in keeping with the practice of making various amendments which do not merit to the publication of separate bills into one bill. Some of the legislation or the statutes that will be going through some amendments include the Children's Act 2022, and the amendment will be seeking to remove the provisions of, or rather, the provisions which prohibit the court from granting a sole male applicant adoption of a child. The amendment of this act will be on number 29 of 2022. This is the Children's Act 2022, and an amendment will be made on number 29 of 2022 on that act. That is to remove the provisions which prohibit the court from granting a sole male applicant adoption of a child. The Copyright Act 2001 will also be going through some amendments, and this amendment will be seeking to make provisions for equitable remuneration of performers and producers of sound recordings, and expand the responsibilities of collective management organizations towards the authors and performers. Well, let me hand you over back to this live proceeding.
Order. Honorable Osoro, can you take your seat? The House has quorum, the requisite quorum. Order. Order, honorable members. We have statements and we need the responses to statements and statements themselves. The departmental chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security, the Honorable Gabriel Tongoyo. Do you have the response?
Yeah, I do, Mr. Speaker.
Can you, to jog the memory of the members of Parliament, do you have the statement also?
So, Mr. Speaker, it is a statement regards to the drowning of...
the tragic drowning of the residents, of 2 residents of Sigowet, Soin?
Yes.
Okay, now give us the response.
So, Mr. Speaker, actually,
Order.
The member that we have been consulting with is the member who actually did us the statement.
Yes.
And I'm happy to report that to this end, one body has been already been retrieved. The other one is the search is ongoing. And the ministry has reached the county government to help also in the issue of divers, to continue helping the family to retrieve the body of the beloved one. But more importantly, Mr. Speaker, it has been established that that particular area, crossing point, Mr. Speaker, that area lost about 20 lives, spread over a period of about 15 years. And I think it is really, what is so important is to look for a lasting solution to prevent further loss of life. And it's an issue that it is a cross-cutting issue, Mr. Speaker, because even it can be confirmed by the colleague, member of parliament here, that it has been an on and off. Whenever it rains, people will attempt to cross and they get drawn. So the ministry is collaborating with the Ministry of Roads to look whether it can able to provide a footbridge to help people to enable them to cross to the other side without drowning. So it is an issue that should be a collaborated issue between our ministry and the Ministry of Roads.
Honorable members, the Honorable Chair of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security will be heard in silence. Order. Order. Order, honorable members. The honorable member from Mandera, can you take your seat? Honorable members, please listen to what the chair has to say on this statement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I've just said that we are glad to report that one body has been retrieved already. The search for the other body is ongoing. And the county commissioner and the office of Ngao are in collaboration with the county government to help look for the divers to continue looking for the other body. But more importantly, Mr. Speaker, looking for a lasting solution, the more ideal is to provide a footbridge so that it can able to help the resident cross without the risk of drowning in the future. And it's an issue that calls for a collaboration between the ministries, including the Ministry of Road, which is responsible for the provision of such facilities, like a bridge or a footbridge. So we had actually talked with a concerned member of parliament and even some colleagues here from the same county, so that they can able to see the means that such a facility, a crossing bridge, will be provided to prevent further drowning, Mr. Speaker. So that is what I have to say, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Kemei.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to thank the chair for that response. But Honorable Speaker, I had 3 concerns, and I want to say that the third concern has not been addressed. That is, what plans are in place to address compensation for the families of the victims? So, Chair, that has not been addressed. And then when we talk of comprehensive measures, it's just mentioned one of them, to have the footbridge or bridges, because it is not one place. That is from Sigawet Soin to Pureti sub-county, and then also crossing to Nyamira County. And Honorable Speaker, I want to also add that we've never had divers doing the work, those who are trained. These are just local boys who are trying their best. I was there on Sunday, and for real, the residents and mainly the family members are still in agony now that Peter Terrer has not been retrieved. But save for the community, Julius Tanui was retrieved, and the funeral was there on Tuesday. So the members of the community were painfully asking that they get the bridge to cross, because every Tuesday, every Monday and Thursday, they cross to Pureti, and then they also cross to Nyamira. And that one alone tells us that if this bridge or the bridges are not done, and these members of the community do not cross to do their business because of the market days, then they have nothing to as source of living. And Honorable Speaker, I also want to add that the children go to school across from Sigawet Soin to Pureti, Mapasi, and then they also cross to Nyamira. This has also been a challenge, and we cannot tell the children not to cross. So, Honorable Speaker, the complaint is The main issue is that from independence up to date, every rainy season, our people are lost, at least two. So I think immediate response should be done, and especially comprehensive measure. So I'm still asking the chair to do more on this. Otherwise, Honorable Speaker, I want to say that it is important to listen, and as the chair said, the county government and the national government should act, and they should work in collaboration, and especially to get the bridge. It is not something very expensive. It is not something that cannot be done. These members of Coil Seal are feeling bad that they are landlocked, and they need to be supported. Over 10,000 in the location. They need to cross, and even from Bureti to Soin, and then from Nyamira, because of the tea estate, the tea plantations, they are leprous, Honorable Speaker. Women cry, they are widowed, children have no parents.
Order, Honorable Member, you're supposed to seek some few clarifications, not basically go on literally a serious debate and a statement on the needs. So I've given you quite a bit of a leeway, but then please conclude.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'm guided. Thank you. I believe this will be done. Thank you so much.
Give an opportunity to the Honorable Dr. Makali Muli, and then followed by Justice Kemei, who is the MP for Sigowet.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I've listened to the response to the question. And really, Honorable Speaker, first of all, I want to thank God that one body was found. But Honorable Speaker, communities and parents are going through a very hard time, very traumatizing time as a result of what is happening in the country. So many people have been washed away, and mostly because most of the rivers do not have the bridges, as they are saying. So the proposal to construct drifts is important, Honorable Speaker. But even as we do that, I think it is important, Chairman, that we think of a short-term solution to some of these problems, because construction of bridges in all over the country will be very expensive. I remember when the Nziu River, when we got some people drowned, Honorable Speaker, there were some local divers who were there, and they did a lot of work. And they were promised that after that they could be trained local divers in most of these rivers, so that when there is a problem, Honorable Speaker, we could have a very short-term kind of reaction to whatever is happening. But you know, the problem, Honorable Speaker, is the government makes a lot of promises when this happens, like it has happened down in Kericho. I'm imagining after another 1 month, this will now be a gone case. People will have forgotten, Honorable Speaker. How I wish that we come up with a comprehensive program to also train some of these areas, because they are known, what I call the black spots. We train local divers who can actually assist. It will be cheaper for the government. It will also be very easy and very convenient for the communities who live around those areas. With those remarks, Honorable Speaker, I want to say it is important that the government address that matter, even as we think of a long-term way of construction of bridges. I submit, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Justice Kemei, Honorable MP for Sigowet.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity that you've given me. I want to thank my colleague, the Honorable Beatrice Kemei, for raising the matter. And I also want to thank the chairman for the response that he has given to the House. However, Mr. Speaker, the way Honorable Makali Muli has said, we require a more permanent solution to the issue at hand. Mr. Speaker, so many people cross on a daily basis. At the moment, River Chemosit and River Sondu are swollen, and they are very angry, Mr. Speaker. But the livelihoods of our people depend on crossing to Magwagwa in Nyamira and also to Bureti, where they earn their livelihoods. Mr. Speaker, the footbridge is a function of the county government. And I want to ask the chairman who has given the response that the national government comes on board also to construct a bridge that can be used by motor vehicles crossing between Bureti and Nyamira from this area of Sigawet, so Mr. Speaker, so that the situation can be ameliorated. Mr. Speaker, I also want to ask the chairman to give us a proper way in which our local divers who played a key role in the retrieving the body of one of the victims, Mr. Speaker, that they are trained and given kits so that when it comes to immediate response, those are the people we'll be relying upon. Mr. Speaker, that clarification is what I seek, and I want to thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
The chair of the, do you want to enrich your response a little bit further, given the concerns and the clarifications sought by the members? But before you do that, I think I'll give Honorable Professor Nyikal to just weigh in a little.
Mr. Speaker, I just got a bit of the response, but Mr. Speaker, we have a huge national issue, and the issue we are raising are actually just small bits of a major issue. And the responses we are getting are also small bits. The issue of floods and the issue of people dying and the issue of bridges, if we leave alone that particular case that we are talking about, if you look, I think there is Rivanziu bridge in Nzui, which has killed people actually every time we have a flood. And before we actually came to these floods, it was known that we were going to have an El Nino. And Mr. Speaker, there were even preparations, and I think we talked about funds being put aside to respond to the issue of El Nino. Mr. Speaker, that's the bigger picture. You know that in the past, we had actually special programs that were looking at these issues so that whenever we had the issue of floods, whenever we had issue of droughts, there were actually programs in place that looked at this. So we cannot, my view is that this should be looked at in a specific manner. We have a special program, even if it's at the level of a ministry, so that we actually put in place certain known areas where problems are likely to occur. When we talk of Korusoin, Mr. Speaker, this is a program that's been talked about even before independence in 1954. And we are still going. So my view, as we are going to make promises about these bridges here and there, is to look at special programs that looks at all these issues and address them more comprehensively. Thank you for obliging me the time.
Chairman Tongoyo, please take just a minute to enrich
just,
a little bit. We go to the next statement.
Yeah, so thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to, of course, agree with the colleague members that we all know that it's just beyond what has happened in Kericho. There are many more other cases in the country happening, especially as a result of the ongoing El Nino. And it's for that matter that we have the National Emergency Response Team that look globally such problems. So it's an issue that the government has to speedily take upon it to look that there are going to be a concerted effort between both levels of government. Of course, Mr. Speaker, within the county government, there is always a department of emergency, I think it's emergency kind of a response and disaster and emergency response, which is supposed actually to provide the gear and the swimming gears to the divers. So we are going to ensure that such is achieved so that Kenyans who probably get drawn can be rescued. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, we also take the opportunity to call Kenyans to be vigilant, to be cautious, especially during this time of El Nino, so that they don't cross when there is imminent kind of flows of water. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
We have another statement which was, or rather response of, what is your point of order, the Honorable David Kibla?
Yeah, Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. The Chair for Interior and Administration, who has just been on the floor, I raised a statement 2 weeks ago, more than 2 weeks ago. The Speaker had ordered the Chair.
Unfortunately, it's a different matter.
No, it's a very pertinent issue because it was concerning a crime, one of the business ladies that was killed. And as we talk now, the nearest center again, there are some robbers who have actually clobbered one of the businessmen also and is currently fighting for his life in hospital. And given that the chair has not responded on the first statement, and the same wave of crimes are still ongoing in my constituency, it raises pertinent issue as to the management of the security situation in Soy constituency, which the chair and the security authorities should take it seriously. Thank you.
Chair, I think you better give an undertaking. You don't have time to make a response now, but give an undertaking to the honorable member. We have kind of dispensed with the strict application of the rules because of the urgency of the lives of people, which is, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Guided. It's true, we had written to the ministry seeking for the response, and by close of business yesterday, we made the same follow-up, and they told us they were still putting pieces together with the responsible security agents and the GAO officers.
When will you have that response which was sought by him? So that it's taken note of and then it appears on the order paper. But of course it's going to be after.
Of course, I know, Mr. Speaker, we are breaking for recess, but we are going to follow the laid down procedures to relay once we get it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. We take note of that, and I'm sure you'll do the needful. The next one is Minister, Chair for the Defense and Intelligence and Foreign Relations, Nelson Koech. Who did the statement initially, who was he? He's a member of Parliament for ICTNA, MP for Turbo.
I actually need to seek your indulgence, Honorable Speaker. I was directed to respond by yesterday, the 6th, by the Speaker. Unfortunately, I think the hierarchy of communication between the Speaker and my committee clerk, there was some misstep, and I took my call yesterday to find out where the communication was. Fortunately, yesterday it was still in the table office, which was handed over to my committee clerk yesterday, and subsequently sent to the Ministry of Defense for response. This is a very serious matter, Honorable Speaker. It involves loss of life of about 5 people, and I did not want a rushed response. I therefore then did request the Ministry of Defense to give a substantive response. And this morning we had not received any communication yet. I would request that you direct, using your own wisdom, when you will want the information availed. But I'm willing and ready to avail the information as soon as possible.
It can only appear when we come back from the recess, from the look of things. I direct that it be given the earliest opportunity and priority.
Well guided, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. We are supposed to, we will have to skip order number 11 and go straight to order number 12. Order number 12 is, I'm made to understand, is time bound, and we have to dispose it off. So order number 12, yeah.
Order number 12, motion. The Proceeds of Crime and Anti-Money Laundering Criminal Asset Recovery Fund Regulations 2023.
The chair, you have you approach the chair and wanted to. Can you approach the chair again, please? Proceed, Honorable Chepkonga.
I thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this was supposed to be moved by my Vice Chair, but unfortunately, we have another meeting that is ongoing, so I'm therefore moving this motion. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the report of the Committee on Delegated Legislation on its consideration of the House.
Order. Read it verbatim as per the rules. You move the motion, first of all.
Yes, I'm moving.
Okay?
Yeah.
That this House adopts the report. Proceed.
Yeah. The Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that this House adopts the report of the Committee on Delegated Legislation on its consideration of the of the Proceeds of Crime and Anti-Money Laundering Criminal Assets Recovery Fund Regulation 2023, legal notice number 151 of 2023, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 5th December 2023, and pursuant to the provision of Section 113, subsection 1 of the Proceeds of Crime and Anti-Money Laundering Act number 9 of 2009, approves the Proceeds of Crime and Anti-Money Laundering Criminal Assets Recovery Fund Regulation 2023, published as legal notice number 151 of 2023. Mr. Speaker, these are regulations that have been made pursuant to the Proceeds of Crime and Anti-Money Laundering Criminal Assets Recovery Fund Act that was passed by this House. The crux of the regulations, Mr. Speaker, is intended to provide a framework for the administrative operations of the fund and utilization of properties and money standing to the credit of the fund as required under Section 113(1) of the Proceeds of Crime and Anti-Money Laundering Act. Mr. Speaker, the agency that is tasked with the responsibility of recovering assets that are suspected to have been laundered receives monies and assets, including houses, vehicles, monies, and it takes into its custody. Once they receive all this, you may have seen one, Mr. Speaker, recently, of an employee of Kera, in which the agency that deals with anti-money laundering recovered monies amounting to about 95 million shillings in an account of a very junior officer that was working for Kera. He had also invested part of these proceeds that she acquired in purchasing 15 apartments. All those assets, Mr. Speaker, were recovered by the agency. They recovered the monies. They also recovered the properties and placed it under its administration. Now, these properties, Mr. Speaker, once it is recovered and the due process has been completed in court, that money that has been recovered must be sent to the consolidated fund. Now, these regulations provides the method and procedure of dispersing that money to the consolidated fund, and the agency retains 5% for purposes of administration. So that is the gist of these regulations. The rest provides for the management of that particular fund. And Mr. Speaker, this is a very important agency. Without this agency, people will be laundering money here and there, people will be stealing public funds. This agency has done a lot of work. As we speak right now, it has billions of shillings in its account, awaiting the conclusion of a number of cases that are pending in court. On the policy background, Mr. Speaker, these regulations are very important in the effort by this nation to combat money laundering, terrorism financing, and proliferation of financing that is largely anchored in the Process of Crime and Anti-Money Laundering Act of 2009. They are also anchored in the attendant regulations, namely the Process of Crime and Anti-Money Laundering Regulations of 2023 and the Prevention of Terrorism Act of 2023. Further, the Criminal Assets Recovery Fund, established pursuant to Section 109 of the Proceeds of Crime and Anti-Money Laundering Act, had not been operationalized due to the lack of regulations. And these regulations will ensure that the main act or the parent act would now be operationalized. Mr. Speaker, there was a suit that was filed sometimes in 2022 against the Assets and Recovery Agency, in which the court ordered that regulations should be finalized within 6 months. And so these regulations have been brought to this House in compliance of that order also, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the regulations that have been prepared, Mr. Speaker, are purely operational for purposes of ensuring that the fund operates in a manner that is consistent with the laws of this country. The regulations, Mr. Speaker, complies with the Statutory Instruments Act. They were brought to this House within the period that is allowed by law, that is within 7 days. We also had the explanatory memorandum submitted to the committee, which we considered the justification for making these regulations, and we were satisfied. We also satisfied, Mr. Speaker, that the authority undertook the necessary public participation as required under Article 10 and Article 118 of the Constitution. So, Mr. Speaker, we are submitting these regulations for approval by this House to enable the agency to implement and operationalize the fund that was created by the Parent Act. And I therefore move, and I would like to request the Honorable Murugara, who was the People's Chairman in the last committee of the Committee of Delegated Legislation in the 12th Parliament.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, allow me to rise at the second the approval of the committee's report on the proposed fund to be established. Mr. Speaker, I remember my days in the Committee on Delegated Legislation during the 12th Parliament with nostalgia. I remember how we used to go through these statutory instruments